I think you can.
Say when, Brett.
All right.
Ready to go?
Yep.
Okay, we're on to the next part. Political life. How did you get involved in local township organizations to begin with?
Well, my first experience was the First Aid Squad. I lived down in the town. The siren used to blow and nobody would move. And finally I said to my wife, maybe I ought to join the First Aid Squad. That was my first experience and my first contribution, I'll say, to the community. And I was with the squad for 21 years. And for about 18 or 19 of those years, I served as treasurer. And that was good because I was getting a little older. I wasn't too anxious to get out of bed and run. But I'll never forget one call in particular. It was on a Christmas morning. Siren was blowing and nobody was getting out. I managed to go with a gentleman by the name of Bill Voorhees. And this was shortly after the war. There were still GIs living around town. Okay. And these kids lived in Little Rocky Hill. I don't want to say a shack, but almost a shack. And a woman had a miscarriage. So we picked her up, took her to the hospital. When I last looked at her, she was in a nice, clean, warm bed. It makes you feel good. That's the, but after that, mostly I served as First Aid treasurer.
And that was Christmas that you mentioned that story happened on Christmas Day.
That was a Christmas morning. Christmas morning. I guess everybody was up late. Nobody wanted to bother answering the call.
What was your first elected position, you said?
Well,
did you mention that?
Yeah, let me clarify that a little bit.
Okay.
I never seeked any office. I was elected 3 or 4 times. I never said to somebody, I'd like to run. I stayed home and mind my own business. Well, one night, 2 members from the council and the tax collector came to my home. And they said, Joe, you should run for office. You've been here all your life, you know a lot of people, you know this, you know that. What do I know about running government? I used to go to meetings and listen to see what was going on when I came home because I was interested in what my government was doing with my tax dollar, but I never thought I'd run. They stayed here till 11 o'clock at night. We sat on the back porch. I said, well, you gotta let me think about it. So I spoke with my wife, we were talking, kicking it around, and I figured what I got to lose. The only thing I could do is lose the election. But I gotta tell you something. If you keep your nose clean, and if you're good to people, politics is a nice experience. It's an experience. You meet a lot of nice people, and you meet some that are a pain. But that's life, and it helps you mature, and it helps you in other ways. And I enjoyed it for one reason. I didn't seek it. And I remember the second time I ran, the township chairman of the campaign and stuff, he says, Joe, you're running for office, you should go out and solicit funds. I said, I didn't ask you to run. You need money, go get it. I'm not begging on anybody's door. That's me, see? And they knew where I stood.
So your first term as mayor, you took over for Richard Elnicki, right?
Dr. Elnicki was a professor at Rutgers.
Right.
And he was going to the state of Washington, I believe, as an intern or something to teach out there for sabbatical. I think that's the term, sabbatical.
Right.
And I was elected to be the mayor. Well, I guess I surprised everybody. I did a fair job. And then when I had to run the second time, those days, the mayor wasn't elected. He was selected by the rest of the committee.
Okay.
And I ran the second time I was elected, the committee voted me mayor again. Well, I did the best I could. You know, I'm born and raised here, I was interested in this town, did the best I could for the people. I wasn't in politics for me, I had a job. I was earning a living.
It wasn't a stepping stone.
It wasn't a
No.
stepping stone for me.
Okay.
The same thing happened with the surrogate. I'm sitting here on a Friday night. My wife and I were watching TV. We got a phone call come in. Joe, aren't you coming down and screening for the surrogate candidate? I didn't even know they were having a screening. How am I going to go down there? But they knew me. I didn't know them. They knew me.
So you got the call.
So I got the call. And I said, look, I haven't thought about it, but if they said, the person that called said, we're going to be here till 10 o'clock. So if you're going to come in, come down. I said, look, if I'm going to come in to screen, I'll be there by 10 minutes to 10, quarter of. Sat here and talked to Ruth. And I never bothered with county politics. I didn't know anybody. I didn't care. Because I didn't have any aspirations for further office, see. So I said to Ruth, I said, well, you know, maybe I'll go down and see who these cast of characters are. I didn't know anybody down there. So I took a shower, got dressed, had no resume, didn't have a thing. Just went, here I am. So I go into this room and there's a U-shaped table. And all the delegates from the different districts of the county, all the municipalities are represented on that board. So I sat in there on a chair and I said, look, I gave my name, where I lived, what I did, where I came from. I'm a veteran, I'm working for so-and-so, and this and that and the other. And then I told them a little bit about my background here. They knew all about my background here. There was a guy by the name of Colonel Bradley. He was involved with the ROTC at Rutgers. And he was in politics in Milltown. He lived in Milltown, but he was in the Army, and he was in ROTC. He knew all about me. I don't know how, but he knew all about me. That's where it started.
They wanted you.
Yeah. So I went down there, and I, sat there and just told him what the story was. And about 2 weeks later, we were having a township committee meeting. And the police station was at the same building where the township met. So a policeman came in and said, there's a phone call for you. So I left the meeting, went and got the phone call, and the woman said, you've been selected candidate for surrogate. Well, I said, thank you, I'm not going back to me. What do I know? But then I was contacted again, told when we would have meetings to get together. And it was a very interesting experience. I met an awful lot of people in the county. It's an office where I met an awful lot of attorneys. It's an office where I dealt with the judges. And most of all, you dealt with people who had a problem. It was a very nice experience. I can't say I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed it very much. And it's a funny thing. Middlesex County's been Democratic for 200 years. Mm-hmm. That year that I was elected surrogate, 2 freehold Republicans were elected with me. I've got articles in the paper downstairs in the file. I was the highest vote getter in the county that year. But anyhow, the terms for the Republican freeholders expired and they were gone. My term was for 5 years. I was the only Republican in the Democrat building.
It was lonely, huh?
No, I got to tell you something. I never asked for anything. Never did anything except what I was expected of my responsibility. Because the surrogate, the sheriff, and the clerk are constitutional officers. They don't have to abide by the freeholders. But they treated me very, very well. If they gave the sheriff and the clerk a raise, they gave me a raise. I never had any problem with them. And one freeholder, I'll never forget, he was the freehold director. He said to me, he said, Joe, he said, you're one of the best surrogates we've ever had. And he said, you know what I like about you? He said, you never asked for anything. And I never asked for anything. I just did what I was responsible for.
So you kind of came into these things organically, I guess. It just that you fell into these positions. But my next question here was, you stayed active in township events throughout the years, and my question is, what makes you stay involved? Well, it seems like you never really got out of it. You stayed involved with the communities and with the people, and that's why you're still involved.
Some people steal. Some people try to do good. I like to think I've always tried to do good. And the satisfaction that I've had over the years is that I've helped some people. Back in the 80s, I got a guy a job. This guy was from Lebanon. He went to France and married a French girl, wound up in the United States. But he knew a little bit about computers, and he knew a little bit about accounting. And I got him a job. I saw him about, I'd say maybe 15, 18 months ago. And I said, well, how's the family? Because I knew he had a son and a daughter. He says, Joe, he said, you changed my life. Well, I didn't do anything to change anybody's life. I just did something with the opportunity at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He said, my daughter's a doctor. And he said, my son has a master's degree in physical science, physical therapy. The guy became a success. He appreciated what the exposure he's had.
So, so you had all these experiences in the township over the years, but what would you say your proudest accomplishments are? Or do you have
I'm
anything?
glad you asked me that question. I got in the back of the house. An article was done by the Home News, and I was asked that same question.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you the same answer.
Okay.
Marry my wife.
That's your proudest accomplishment.
That's my proudest accomplishment, marrying my wife. She was a beautiful person. I tell you.
That's a great answer.
Well, that's it. All these other things you just do to survive, and the opportunity comes and you do the best you can at whatever it is.
Well, what are the biggest changes you've seen in the township over the years, other than, obviously there's been a lot more development, but what would you say is the biggest change?
Well, because of the increase in population, obviously we've had to do things differently. The schools are different. We would never have had a library. The churches have grown. It breaks my heart not to see the cows and the chickens around anymore, but they're gone. What can I tell you?
Right.
At heart, I'm basically a country boy at heart. Ruth and I used to go to the city. We would go to Radio City Music Hall at Easter, at Christmas time, beautiful shows. We would go occasionally see a Broadway show. We've seen many of them, but it was always nice to come home to the country, And the progress that I've seen is based basically on the population, because the population is demanding of certain things. But I'm very fortunate. I'm looking at a cornfield.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you something. It's not going to be there too long.
No, probably not.
Somebody that runs a hedge fund bought that property.
Oh, that very piece of property.
And they've already knocked on the door. They want to put up townhouses.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't want townhouses across the street. I want to look at the corn.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
But that's the example of the changes. And I remember in the 50s when Kendall Park first came in, us old-timers, I'd say old-timers, obviously we were fighting it. We didn't want Kendall Park. But, and it took me 10, 15 years to accept Kendall Park. But, you know, it's changed. We couldn't stay the way we were. If we could, it'd be an entirely different township.
Right.
But how do you stop progress?
Especially with the proximity to New York City and
Yeah.
even Philly.
You know, I'll tell you something. Seal, hand me that. No. I don't think it's in that, but hand me that, Lou.
This right here?